Imagine an off-the-beaten-path restaurant where the owner refuses to make dishes that some of the guests want. So is this owner asking for empty seats and disgruntled diners? Well, as Rob Wiles discovered, it's like this. If the food is flavorful and fresh enough, well, the people will flock there anyway, as they do at the Plaid Apron over in Knoxville.
There are plenty of restaurants along Knoxville's busy streets, but you'll have to look a bit into the neighborhood of Sequoia Hills to find where owners Drew and Bonnie McDonald planted their restaurant, the Plaid Apron.
We're off the beaten path, definitely. And that fits who we are. We're not mainstream people.
True, Drew and Bonnie met by chance on a mission trip to New Zealand. Drew was going to be a doctor. Well, plans change. Drew learned his trade as a chef in Nashville and New Zealand, and then they came to Knoxville and opened their place. That unusual take on life shows up on the menu, too.
We do a lot of familiar stuff that's unfamiliar. And I say that because, for instance, our grilled cheese is not what you would consider a grilled cheese. Currently, we make all our breads in-house. It is an herbed focaccia with goat cheese, Sweetwater Valley cheddar. It has roasted peaches, house-made onion jam, locally grown sprouts. So you literally are having a bit of a sweet, salty, earthy, almost umami flavored grilled cheese, rather than you have 2 pieces of white bread with some Velveeta or American slices slapped on it and then toasted in a skillet with margarine.
Here at the Plaid Apron, they got what you might call their credo on the wall. Locally grown, handmade, artisan crafted, but you gotta allow time for culinary decadence. Now, that can mean a lot of different things to different people, that culinary decadence. To me, it means the food is so good when you bite into it, it makes your socks roll down.
Go to the supermarket and buy a beet or a cantaloupe even, or anything, and then go to your local farmer's market and buy a beet or a cantaloupe or whatever. Eat them side by side, cook them exactly the same way, and tell me that one is not more decadent than the other. The profile, the flavor that come from the dirt that it came from the hands that sweated and brow that sweated when you reached down to pick it up and then washed it gently. It didn't go through a machine on the way to hit the back of a truck. It went from one hand to a basket very gently and then delivered by hand to your mouth. And then as long as the person behind the cooking can treat that delicately, it turns that what commodity calls vegetables into what I would call a decadent piece of food.
That's really the heart of the place. They make everything from scratch. Well, honestly, not everything.
We have ketchup and salt and pepper, and that's really the only thing that we have not. Oh yes, we do hot sauce too.
Their homemade dishes are made as much as humanly possible from locally grown foods, which Bonnie says some people just don't expect.
One thing that shocked people when we first opened is that we only had tomatoes during tomato season. And it shocked
Still shocks people.
Because sometimes it made it mad, but when we serve tomatoes, they are beautiful and juicy and wonderful, and they're not white like you can get on some burgers in the middle of winter. And so I think that does make a huge difference, and I think people, when they taste it, they understand, they realize that there is a difference when it's in season versus being shipped from Mexico or even California or halfway across the world.
Drew looks at his restaurant almost like a school, educating as well as feeding his guests.
Our vegetable plate, for instance, is not where we take a scoop and we pull 3 or 4 different things and plop them on a plate. Everything starts from raw form and is not pre-cooked, to where it is literally a composed dish of anything from a minimum of 6 vegetables to I've had as many as a dozen vegetables on there at one time, depending on the year. And with that comes an education. I try to use things that people do not know and are not familiar with.
So now diners come not only from the neighborhood, but from all over. But no matter how far they come from, they're made to feel like part of the community, which now includes Grantham Ace McDonald, who should know this place pretty well. His mom worked here on Saturday night, then took the next morning off to deliver him. He's been here a lot in his young life.
You got to start them early.
Yeah.
You got to, I say it's a great training because you're going to either realize they want to do it or they don't want to do it really quick. So
He'll probably start in the dish pit
Yeah.
when he's old enough.
as soon as he can understand hand-eye coordination, we'll put a scrubby in him and let him go to work.
Well, whatever winding road Ace's life takes him down, we know he'll be well fed with the delightfully decadent dishes created by his mom and dad at the Plaid Apron in Knoxville.